Hello and welcome to Race to Your Career, the podcast series brought to you by the British Horse Racing Authority's Careers in Racing team. My name's Nor and I'll be your host as we dive in and around the world of horse racing. On today's episode, we'll be shifting focus onto the parents whose children have gone through the racing school system. So if your child is interested in a career in horse racing, don't go away.
In an ideal world, money and objects, I'd just be at the races every day of the week, just sat there in the stands, enjoying myself, watching all the horses, seeing them in the parade ring.
It's a Roomba lawnmower.
He's actually been nicknamed Fred.
What would you say the worst parts of your role are?
Weather can be such a challenge.
And they even gave him a bicycle, so
It's really lovely. You could get to work every day.
So, I'm joined by Nikki and Jayne today, and both of your children are in the British Racing School. So, would you both like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, yeah. My name is Nikki McNelis. My daughter Maya, she is 16. She's literally got her GCSEs in literally a few weeks' time. She's going to the British Racing School in the summer. She's done a few things with horses in her past. Horses have been her life basically. Pony racing, Shetland racing. Yes.
Right, you Jim Peg. My son Zach is 17 and he started at the British Racing School literally last January and completed his 12-week course where he learnt to have all aspects of the racing industry, learning to ride, and from there he basically wanted to be a jockey. So he has gone to one of the racing yards in Newmarket, Roger Varian, and he's up at 5 every morning riding out, which means riding the race horses up on the gallops to exercise them. And he will basically get his apprenticeship at the end of it and follow his career path to becoming a jockey.
How did Maya's journey begin?
So she's always loved horses. She basically wanted to ride from the age of 4, started at a riding school. From there, I didn't really know what to do. I found a pony and we loaned a pony from when she was 6 for a couple of years. I've always been really lucky, actually, had people that have helped me because it's not my background at all. She started Shetland racing when she was 8. We bought a pony through her Shetland team. They were really, really helpful and brought that pony on and she raced that pony and some other ponies. And it was then that she just really loved that speed and and working with horses. I was quite surprised. We'd see the Shetlands racing around. It's what she'd always wanted to do. She actually raced Shetlands from when she was 8 to 14, so a long time she was very little.
Yeah. Must be terrifying.
As a parent, it's a little bit odd, to be honest. Seeing your child speeding around. She learnt so much, both working with horses and kind of just herself with other kids as part of a team. She wanted to pony race, had no idea how to go about it. I was really, really lucky. Had a friend who offered her a pony to ride. She did. There's a few different ways of pony racing. She did the pony club racing and point to point. And then at 14, she started riding out at a racing yard in Newmarket, and that's where she absolutely decided that's what she wanted to do.
That's really cool. And Jayne, you mentioned that Zach started riding the ponies in Barbados?
Yes, Zach was born in Barbados. Literally born on the beach riding a pony.
Sounds like the dream.
I know, so they're very much bareback, barefoot.
So is that where that kind of starts?
I think so, yes. And there's a large horse industry in Barbados as well. So there's horses everywhere. So I think that's also his dream. And then when he was 14, we moved back to the UK because of obviously COVID and restrictions, and everything was very difficult. And we started in Wales, funnily enough. And Zach basically was able to go to Tim Vaughan Racing and thrown in at the deep end and started riding the racehorses every day. He then had the dream that he'd like to be a jump jockey, and Tim's basically thought it would be really good for Zach to go to the British Racing School. So we went to an open day and Zach decided, this is the place for me. So he started last January and had finished his course. And he's now gone to a riding yard in Newmarket called Roger Varian, where he's a rider stroke amateur jockey. And he's still on his apprenticeship as well. and he loves it. I mean, his passion is horses. He just says to get on a horse and go 50 miles an hour, Mum, is fantastic. He said, I go faster on a horse than you do in the car.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And that's what drives him. I mean, a 17-year-old getting up at 4:45 every day, no issues.
Yeah, that's true passion.
That's
right
a true
there.
passion.
Yeah, well, you both mentioned the whole kind of speed aspect, and it's a bit terrifying. So, how did you feel when, like Zach said, that he wanted to work with horses?
I feel if that's his passion, I wouldn't stop him. I mean, I feel he's very sensible, he's very focused, and I wouldn't take that dream from him. As a parent, if that's what he chooses to do with his life, that's his call.
Yeah, you must be really proud.
So yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
What about you and Maya then?
Yeah, and similarly, when you see something, you see your child lit up by something, and you see that's what they really want to do, you want to help them, and you want to encourage them to do what they want to do. And it's completely different to what I've ever done. I mean, she says to me, Mum, I don't want to sit behind a desk 9 to 5. She says, I want to be out. I want to be out with horses, and she loves the speed and she loves the riding, but she also loves caring for the horses. She loves seeing the horses come on. She loves seeing them develop. And that's what I've tried to help her do when she can't race, and we haven't got big budgets to buy big horses, but I've helped her to have horses and see their journeys and see what she can do to develop them, and bring them on. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what else she does. But I think as a parent, you can only but encourage them to do what they want to do.
Yeah, no, I understand. And like you said, you didn't really have much of a knowledge. You aren't really a horsey person. I think that's what you were saying before. What have you kind of done to try and get up to speed on the entire industry?
Yeah, I mean, people have been really, really helpful. I think I mentioned even from, back from riding schools through to her Shetland racing, people have been really, really helpful. Just lots of research, looking at what's online, trying to find out more about the industry. I mean, we've been to various events and days throughout the years. So we started with the Racing to School events when she was younger, which were held at racecourses to see kind of what can you do, what's the industry about. Careers in Racing's been really, really helpful. We've been to a couple of their days, met the team, been to some of their events and seen how racecourses work, and all of that knowledge has really, really helped. Following racing. I mean, she just sits and is glued to it. But as I say, it's not my thing, but I really, really try and, help her and be a part of it.
Yeah.
And it's exciting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
to learn
Fun to learn about new things.
Yeah, exactly. So, what has been your interest or knowledge about horse racing in the past?
Well, basically, I had an understanding because I had a pony in Barbados, and so but again, I was very much the route of it was a pet rather than an industry-based horse, and it was just a fun thing for Zach to learn to ride on the beach and everything. So I really didn't have an understanding of the industry until we came to the UK, and the Careers in Racing Open Day at the British Racing School was so informative. I mean, it covered absolutely every area of racing, from the marketing side to the hospitality, PR, even to the stud side of it. And it really opened my eyes, and I just thought this is a really good industry for my son to go in, because yes, it's his dream to be a jockey, but there's going to be a point where he needs to move on, because you can't always be a jockey.
You can't be a jockey forever.
and Zach's very tall. If he keeps growing, he'll have to stop.
Oh, yeah.
So it just showed you what the industry is capable of, and it's such a. And I was actually surprised how much. It's the second largest industry after football, and I just think most people just do not understand that.
No.
And there's just so many opportunities there, and BRS really are an A-class college of everything to cover for a child to learn. And I just feel very, very confident with how Zach's career is moving on.
That's really lovely to hear. So would you say, I guess both of you have gone to quite a lot of these events held by the British Racing School, and I think you mentioned a few others, didn't you? Did you find that was a good way for you to start understanding the career options in the industry?
Definitely. I think, just finding those events, going to those events and talking to people and understanding more. I mean, I think Maya also did various courses at the British Racing School, kind of which, as I say, she goes in the summer, but she's also done her levels 1, 2 and 3 on smaller ponies. She actually did one of those courses on one of their ponies to get used to riding a bigger pony. And then also on a racing pony, she went to an Easter camp at the British Racing School as well. So I guess what's really nice is when she does go in the summer, it'll be really familiar to her. So because she's done those other things, and it is a really, really welcoming environment for the youngsters. Because I mean, you have to remember, I mean, she'll only be 16 when she goes there, and then she'll be out in the industry. So to feel comfortable somewhere is really, really important, I think.
So you mentioned that there were quite a lot of different kind of opportunities within the industry. I think you mentioned like marketing and PR and everything like that. Did you find the events to be quite helpful to understand the career?
Totally, yes. And the open day that Careers in Racing offer at Newmarket was absolutely fantastic, because you get the opportunity to first have a tour of the British Racing School and the all the facilities that are available, and meet some of the horses, meet some of the team, and just see how the everything is going to be. Just makes you more confident that your child is going to be going there. It's going to be the first time they're leaving home. Yeah. So you've got to be confident that they're going into an environment where they're safe. Yeah. And I was very assured by that. And I just feel, Careers in Racing put all that together for you to see a snapshot picture of how the industry works and how your child can, transcend into it. Plus, we actually got to go to the races. Oh, that's great. And had a cream tea, which was absolutely fabulous. So,
nice little perks.
Yes, so that's one of the perks of it.
Definitely. So you've both been really positive, and it's great to hear all the kind of advice, the support, being able to see everyone in the industry. How do you actually feel about Maya and Zach actually going into this industry, kind of as a whole?
I think it sounds like both children are very driven, love horses and love speed.
Yeah, so. I think you just, as I said earlier, you have to let them follow their passion and encourage them. I think probably the biggest thing is that leaving home at 16. I talk to my friends and what, Maya's leaving home at 16, and going potentially to a racing yard that's a couple of hours away. I think that's probably the biggest thing. Yeah. The course that she's on at the racing school, is a short course because she's ridden out before. So I guess that's probably the biggest thing. But as I say, you go with that, don't you? Because you go with what they want to do. And I think, as you said, that they both seem very driven to do that. So I think that's the biggest thing. It is that leaving home.
Yeah. I can imagine. I think you mentioned before we were on camera that Zach had a buddy at the school. Can you explain a bit more?
When you go to the British Racing School, you actually are in a room where there's two of you, so you're buddied up with somebody. So that's really good because it's the first time your child is leaving home. Yeah. There's suddenly, mum is there, but she's not there. And I remember taking him there the first day, unpacking his bag, putting everything away, and then saying the goodbye. But his buddy was there too, so it was really good. And he had a great buddy called Hez, and the two of them really bonded, and they were the same age group. And I think that really helped. Yeah. And everybody was very friendly at British Racing School as well. So I think it just made them feel very, very safe as well in that sort of environment. The hardest thing actually was for me from when Zach graduated. Then he went out obviously into industry where he currently is. And it was just to find, particularly for Newmarket, to find accommodation. That's very difficult for a 16 to 17-year-old because of the restrictions of age. Because nowhere really will take you unless you're 18. So that's a challenge as a parent, hence why I relocated to Newmarket.
Oh, right. So that's kind of how you overcame that challenge. Yes. Okay. Was there no other options that you could find? Or?
The British Racing School was very accommodating. They let Zach stay there till we could find accommodation until I actually moved there. Yeah. But there was a big gap. So I think probably further out some of the yards you can live in, which is easier. But just Newmarket's a little bit difficult on the accommodation side. And I just feel that's something that maybe needs to be addressed slightly for the your younger, the 16 to 17-year-olds at least.
Yeah, especially when they first left school, and if you're quite far away,
yes,
you can be a bit daunting. But at least there's a lot of things that they do to kind of make sure that you feel a bit more reassured.
Well, that's why you've got the support of the college, which is excellent.
Okay, that's when you say the support, what what do they offer in terms of?
Well, Zach basically was able to stay and at the college while he went to work till we actually found, that I was able to find accommodation in Newmarket for us. So, and they even gave him a bicycle, so
He could get to work every day.
That's really good. Yeah,
because it's an early start in racing, and you have to be within 10 minutes maximum of the yard because the starts are so early and it's long hours.
Yeah.
So
Well, at least there's a lot of support then.
Yes.
You know, you both feel reassured from what I understand, even though it's a little bit daunting at first.
exactly.
Well, how did you find out about the training in the sport?
I think I talked a little bit about some of the courses that she's done over the years.
Yeah.
So that has really helped in terms of her training. She's had a lot of help at the racing yard that she rides out at, and been really, really supportive. But I think, in terms of that on-the-job training, I think more of that will start once she gets to the racing school. But as I say, I've been really keen for her to do those courses, and she's wanted to do those courses kind of, up until now.
Do you have a good idea about what Zach's been doing in terms of training and courses?
Well, every day he's riding horses, which is he's still doing his level 2 apprenticeship as well, which is still linked through to British Racing School. And again, I would say the support that he had for the English and Maths was brilliant, because he was able to to do those exams as well, which was difficult previously because of COVID and everything. We just did a retake, so that was really accommodated by British Racing School. And really, his dream is at the moment is still to be a jockey. That's what he wants. That's what he's always wanted. Yes, people may be moving to something later in life, but at the moment, that's what he's doing, and that's what he's putting his heart and soul into.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear that both of them are like really passionate and driven, and they've got a lot of support, and like from both of you and from the school and everyone kind of around them.
It's a lifestyle, I think. And Maya went and did a full week's work experience, and she lived at the yard where she works every Saturday. And I think that was really important too, to actually spend that full week and get that work experience before making the decision, because it isn't a normal job. It is a real lifestyle. The early starts and the long days. If you take the horses racing, it can be a really, really long day. So getting that experience is helpful, I think, before you make the decision.
Yeah, it gives you a good idea of what it is that you're getting yourself into. What advice would you give to another parent whose child is very interested in this industry? Got any?
Support them. Let them follow it through, and you just really support them all the way, because it is an industry that has lots of opportunities. And it's a secure industry, and I think you'll always be able to have a career within it, whichever direction you go. And it is a lifestyle, and it's a nice balance of, you're not behind a desk, you're outside, you've got fresh air, but equally, you've got to concentrate, and you've actually got to apply, your full concentration. So for focusing and for bringing a child along, I think the disciplines it also brings is very good, because you've got to have discipline, particularly around horses and in a yard, because of the dangers that are there. So I think that puts a lot of responsibility onto a young child, a young person. But I think it's very good guidance.
The other thing I would say is chat to people, and and encourage your young person to chat to people, and because actually people within this industry, and I think most industries, if you actually open up and show them that you're passionate about something, people are willing to help. So yeah, be open and chat to people.
What would you say the main challenge that both your children faced in this industry?
So I think the biggest challenge, I think, is Maya's been, she loves riding out on a Saturday. We live just over an hour away from Newmarket. We don't have any other racing yards near us. So I think the biggest challenge is kind of that location and being able to actually get her there. We have lots of very early Saturday morning starts. Which I don't mind at all. I only have one daughter, so I can do it. But I think I completely understand. If you've got a bigger family, lots of children, actually it's quite hard to really focus. And it's I think we've talked about it through this conversation, haven't we, about that dedication that both the that the young people have. But I think as a parent, I think you have to be dedicated to help them and give them that support, which we've talked about. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge, and there's always been, more that she could do, different horses, financial challenges, etc. So yeah, lots of challenges, but I think as long as if you have that passion and you give them that support, at the end of the day, they then go off on their own, don't they? But I think that's the most important thing.
I think that's probably the best way to end this, really. So I just want to say thank you both for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure hearing about Zach and Maya's experience and your unconditional, unwavering support for both of them. So thank you to the both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If we've sparked your interest and you'd like to know more, we have a whole host of resources for you to dive into. And this isn't the only episode of Race to Your Career. So if you haven't already, make sure to check out the rest. Thanks again, and see you in the next one.